Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Byjus exam prep analysis of the Hindu newspaper on 18th May 2024. Now, before I begin with the analysis, again the same old announcement, the crash course has begun from 15th May and we are right now going through the classes of polity, and today there would be the fourth lecture of polity. So do attend that exactly at 7 p.m. It's live or it's there on YouTube. And do comment, do subscribe, and do tell how are you liking these initiatives. Now, as far as today's newspaper is concerned, not a lot of articles. There were 3 articles which could be important from mains perspective. Number 1, Supreme Court is asking Election Commission, why is there a delay in uploading the turnout data? Number 2 is an editorial that stay invested. This editorial is basically about India-Iran ties. And the editorial is saying we should go ahead with our ties with Iran. We should not be concerned about what are the objections of USA. The third one is Spain blocks arms shipped from Chennai to Israel. Trust me, on other days I would not have taken this article, but today there was a paucity of articles that I have taken this one. Apart from these 3 articles, the fourth one is Nepal latest to ban Indian spice brands over safety concerns. So we shall look into which all countries have also banned our spices and what exactly is their safety concern, which chemical is their concern. That is something that we'll be looking into. Second one, nearly 6 million trees disappeared from farmlands. That's a study. We shall see what exactly the study is saying about us. And the last one, archaeologists find first evidence of rock art in the form of footprints in Mangaluru city. So again, I'll tell you very frankly, today's newspaper, there were very few articles which could be considered important for mains. And these are the 6 articles which I have taken out, and we'll see what exactly we can use them for our exam. Now, number 1, why delay in uploading turnout data? Supreme Court is asking the Election Commission. Now, as you all know, what has happened is that application has been filed in Supreme Court, and this has been filed by an NGO, that's NGO Association for Democratic Reforms. Their lawyers have gone in Supreme Court and they are saying that there has been a delay as far as the numbers, how many people, what percentage of people have voted. Regarding that, they are saying that there has been an inordinate delay by the Election Commission. Commission is not publishing the turnout data on time, and that they are saying has happened in the first 2 phases. Now, yesterday, again, CJI, Mr. D.Y. Chandrachud, he was leading a 3-judge bench. He asked this question to Election Commission. You can see they are asking Election Commission to explain its inability to immediately upload on its website authenticated, scanned, legible account of votes recorded booth-wise after each phase of polling. Now, what you have to understand here is that, see, on the day of voting, every booth has a polling officer and they submit voting record by the evening, by evening 7 p.m. or at 6 p.m., whatever, the cutoff time would be. By then, the moment the polling is completed, they submit this voting records. So, Supreme Court is saying invariably the returning officer then would have the data of the entire constituency. So the Supreme Court yesterday asked the Election Commission, why don't you fill this as early as possible? Because this NGO is saying, number 1, the Election Commission is not giving the data on time. Number 2, when the data has come at a later time, there has been a very sharp spike. Means on the day, for example, Election Commission said that 60% voting has happened. But later when they came out with the report, final, they said 66% has happened. So this NGO is saying that if you look at first phase, happened on 19th May, the data came, 19th April, the data came on 30th April. So exactly after 11 days, And by then, the second phase had also happened, 26th April. That had also happened. And by the time on 30th April, the data that they gave, there was a spike of around 5 to 6% from the initial percentage that the Election Commission had said. So on 19th April, Election Commission had said that there was a 60% voting from that day, 21 states and the UT where the elections happened. Similarly, on 26th April, in the second phase, the Election Commission said 60.96% was the voting percentage. But by the time the final numbers came, this had gone up by 5 to 6%. Last but not the least, even when the final this thing has come, there is an absence of disaggregated constituency and polling station figures as far as the absolute numbers are concerned. So even there, this thing is not there or not given. So they are saying that this raises doubts in the minds of the people. Now, today I'm not going to deal with this in a very big manner. Reason for this is because Supreme Court has said we will listen to this case again on May 24th. So invariably, when I'm doing the newspaper analysis on May 25th, I would be talking much more about this on that day. So presently only understand what are the objections. Objections are why disaggregated constituency wise and polling station wise figures are not being given, why it is being so delayed, and when it is so delayed, why do we see such a big spike? And Supreme Court has asked a few questions. Moving to the number 2, and let me just give me a second. And if I, okay. Now in the last week, 2 times I have taught you this topic. This is regarding Chabahar port. India, Iran have signed an agreement. So with regards to that only, this article has come today. This editorial has come. Now I'm not going to deal into what has already happened, but just in brief, I must say, India, Iran, they both have done an agreement. What is this agreement? That to maintain Chabahar port for 10 years, its development, its operation, all that would be taken care by us. You have already studied, India has said we will invest $120 million in this and will also give a credit line facility of $250 million. And under that, Chabahar's Shahid Bahishti, I would rather say, port related projects were all talked about. So this is something that you studied on the first day when I was dealing this article few days back. Next day, we have already dealt that US has raised its objections. US has said that if you are dealing with Iran, be prepared for sanctions. Now this much we have studied. Now what new thing has come is that basically in this article, the writer is saying that see, because of Iran's sanction, this project is already delayed. First time it was conceived in 2003. But the project could not take off because of the US objections. Because, they had imposed sanctions on Tehran because of its nuclear program. Later, we have already studied in 2015, when these sanctions were eased, India signed a memorandum of understanding and thus this started to roll. And finally in 2016, when our Honorable Prime Minister Mr. Narendra Modi had visited Iran, this was signed, this thing was done. Now we have already we have already discussed that in 2018, US had given some carve out from their sanctions on Iran. That is, on 2 things they had given us exemption, that if it is a humanitarian aid to the Iranian people or if it helps the Afghanistan's government, they said that they are ready to give us exemptions. Now you all know US has left Afghanistan and they do not have any such concerns for the Taliban's government. So the US is saying that last time what we had carved out for you, this we will not do this we will not do you, sorry, this we will not do for you this time. So if you see here, what is new in this article, you all know very critical for our connectivity plans. How is it critical? Number one, gives an alternative route to Afghanistan as well as Central Asia, bypassing Pakistan, and allows better connectivity with Central Asia. This Chabahar is expected to connect to the international north-south transport corridor, which will bring India closer to Europe through Iran, Azerbaijan, and Russia. This will become an alternative to the Suez route. A fully operational NSTC would reduce the time as well as money which is spent on the intercontinental trade. Apart from this, this will also rival the Gwadar port, which is Pakistan's port around 200 km, which is being developed by China as a part of Brick and Road initiatives, and will help India expand its geopolitical influence in Central Asia. But this time, as you can see, US is taking a narrow view of this. So this editorial is saying that last time in 2018, US had been backing the then Afghanistan government. They had given us this carve-out facility. Now because they don't have any such things over there in Afghanistan, so they are not ready to support us. But this article says that we should keep invested in Chabahar. We should keep on seeking to improve our trade, our connectivity projects with Central Asia. We should think about our benefits here, and we should definitely not think about the objections being raised by America. Now, a topic which we have discussed in brief 2 times in the last week, and something which is important, and that's why we have taken this editorial again. Third, not that important, but then Spain has blocked arms ship from Chennai to Israel. Now, they have blocked entry to a ship which was carrying arms from China and was going to Israel and had been docked at one of the ports of Spain. This has been told by the foreign minister of Spain. The ship is Denmark owned, had sailed from Chennai on April 8th and was traveling to Haifa, Israel. Now everyone, the big thing that you have to understand, why is Spain having so much objections? So remember, Spain has been extremely critical. They are very unhappy with regards to the civilian casualties that's going on in Palestine. They are unhappy with the Israeli offensive in Gaza. And along with Spain, another country, Belgium, what they have done is, they have suspended arms export license to Israel. So what Spain and these countries of Europe is saying, or are saying, is that Middle East does not require weapons. Middle East requires peace. And that's why they have stopped this Denmark flagged ship, saying that this had around 27 tons of explosives, and they will not allow it to go to Israel. Please understand, this is not the only case where it has happened. In other cases also, there is a ship called Borkum, which was docked at Cartagena port of Spain, that has also been stopped over there. Though the Spanish government is saying that this arms over this ship is not meant for Israel, but rather meant for Czech Republic. But then you can see there is a growing anger as far as the world powers are concerned with regards to the casualties that are happening, specifically the civilian casualties that are happening in Palestine, and that's reflecting, that the people are voting against Israel in international forums at some places, and such bans that are being imposed on Israel with regards to its arms. Now, another topic from international relations only. Nepal is the latest country to ban Indian spice brands over safety concern. So, which other countries have banned? Please remember, Hong Kong and Singapore last month had banned Indian spices. Two spice company, very popular ones, Everest and MDH. These are two popular Indian spice brands. They have reported that they contain ethylene oxide, a cancer-causing pesticide, and that's why Nepal has become the third country to ban it. Now, this is something that everybody would read. Now, please understand what our government is saying. Our government is saying that if you look at this ETO, ethylene oxide, different countries allow 0.73 to 7% of ethylene oxide. Government sources say if that's the case, the country should revise a standard, about how much ETO they want to use. And government is saying these three countries, hardly 1% of our spices go to these countries as a form of exports. So this is a very negligible quantity. We are trying to, better ourselves. That's why the Spice Board of India has already started to take steps to ensure the safety and to ensure the quality of the spices that are being exported from our country. But then, apart from this also, there are many other organizations in our country. For example, Indian Spices Exporters Forum, similarly Indian Spice and Foodstuff Exporters Association. So such associations are working over this in order to lift this particular ban. And if I tell you which spices were here, news was there that sambar masala powder, curry powder, these were some of the Indian spices from which they said that ethylene oxide was found out. So you can see Everest and MDH. Moving ahead. Nearly 6 million trees disappeared from farmlands. A report has come that in the last 3 years, 2019 to 22, India has lost 58 lakh full-grown trees. And these were the trees which were there in agricultural lands. This is based on a satellite imagery. This is analysis done by researchers at the University of Copenhagen, Denmark, and published this week in the peer-reviewed journal Nature Sustainability. Now, please understand, they are saying additionally 11% trees which were detected in 2010-11 were no longer visible when reviewed between 2018 to 22. So they are saying that this number would only be bigger. Much more trees have disappeared. Now let me tell you one thing. You might say, but then if we study the Forest Survey of India reports, their data says that the forests have gone up. That is because between 11 to 19, FSI report says tree cover in India has gone up. Reason for that is here they focus and track individual trees. And the satellite imagery that they are using here to see this, they are having a resolution of 3 to 5 meters. Whereas FSI, they use the imagery which has a coarser resolution of 10 meters. So FSI data cannot see individual tree, but they look at a block of trees. So because of that, FSI reports say that the numbers have gone up. This says that it has gone down. Now for prelims, do remember this trees detected by rapid eye. There are two repositories that they have used here. One is rapid eye and another is planet scope. These two have been used here in order to do this research. Now, overall, if you will read this entirely, not many things would come. In nutshell, you can just remember that some large trees have definitely been cut as far as our country is concerned. What you should remember, the last thing here is, why are our trees being cut? What is the reason that these large trees are being cut? And a plausible reason for that is that our farmlands are being converted from farmland to paddy fields. So this might be one of the reasons why there is a drop in numbers. And according to the scientists, certain loss is always natural. Cutting trees is at times a part of agroforestry management also. And not every tree which is lost is because of climatic disturbance or because of human appropriation. So that's not the case every time. So just remember this much. Last but not the least, let's move to the last topic for the day. And the last topic is, archaeologists finds first evidence of rock art in the form of footprints in Mangaluru city. Not a very important topic, but then for the first time, an evidence of rock art. Now, please understand, rock art. What is this? Any paintings or any rock paintings which show an unquestionable cognitive evidence of the illiterate societies. So that's your rock arts. So for the first time, a rock art has been discovered in Mangaluru city, and it has been discovered near Bulur Panne Kotida Babu Swami Shrine. Now, please understand, in the areas of Tululand, Mangaluru and all, similarly some areas of Kerala, coastal lands, Babu Swami is a revered god, or I would say it's seen as a divine power. Some people also feel that he is an incarnation of Lord Shiva. So there has been some form of, this thing has been found out. This rock art is in the form of a pair of human footprints found on a natural stone boulder near the shrine. They are saying these footprints might be 1st or 2nd century old. So this is something that has been discovered in Mangaluru for the first time. Again, I'm repeating, not that important, but then if there is any question, do remember some rock art has been discovered as far as your Mangaluru is concerned. And of course, do remember about the Kotida Babu Swami Shrine that's there in Mangaluru. Let us look at the two main questions for the day. The first is, US-Iran relations have an impact on India. Discuss. 250 words, 15 marker. And the number 2 is, discuss the significance of the independence of Election Commission of India in ensuring free and fair elections. Do discuss the challenges of conducting elections in the first general elections and the present general elections. So you can do a comparison. So this is a question of polity as well as post-independence. So both the things have been asked over here. Do write this. Do attend the session that is going on, the crash course that is going on, and we have completed today's analysis within 30 minutes. Don't worry about that. If there would be more interesting news, more important news, we shall cover that, but today there was a paucity of those. That's all from today's newspaper. Thank you. Goodbye. Let's meet tomorrow again at the same time, same place. Thank you.